The early vibe out of Dolphins camp is an interesting one because we all know they drafted Tua. We all know Tua's issue with the hip, although we all saw the footage of Tua looking pretty spry, showing nice dexterity, good explosion, good post-surgical health at the camp, whatever it was.
Yeah.
But we also know that they still have Ryan Fitzpatrick, who has a lot of respect in that locker room just because of the way he plays. He plays hard, and he usually plays relatively well. They had a good vibe last season as a group. As the year went on, they played better and better. They never stopped playing hard, and they started to play more efficiently, started winning some games they weren't supposed to, beat the Pats. So now you draft Tua. You still have Josh Rosen there. You traded for him, peanuts on the dollar, basically. Their quarterback situation is interesting, and there were some rumblings here that until yesterday, Tua was third behind Josh Rosen. How do you interpret that?
Well, I think a lot of it, BT, comes down to a very young rookie quarterback trying to learn what it's like to play in the National Football League. Let's not forget at Alabama, right? They had a monster run game. So anytime he's dropping back to throw the ball, it's all play action. All, the linebackers are sucking up. You got like three blazers, really four if you include Waddle down there. You get three blazers just crushing, the open field downfield, and he has his choice who to throw the ball to because they ran the ball so well. I mean, it's the Nick Saban 101. Run the ball, play great defense, right? Mm-hmm. So when you do that and you have an accurate passer like Tua is, you're throwing the wide open wide receivers all the time. In the National Football League, that's not the case. I don't care if you even have a great running back, you're not throwing the wide open wide receivers. And so the timing is different. It's like the speed is different. I got to let this thing go, a second or even half a second, sooner to get it to get these completions. And the only way, BT, to learn that is to play games. Look, I know that camp is camp. Oh, well, we're heightening it up. He's not getting hit. You know what I mean? He's a quarterback. He's got a red shirt on. If you touch a quarterback, you're basically fined and ostracized. You turn into a pariah. And so, it's just not the same until you play in games. And so he's swimming, and he's going to be swimming until he actually has live action. And that's likely not going to happen. So you bring up, you tease this, BT, could Tua end up being the third string quarterback and basically not playing, not even having a chance to play because Josh Rosen is playing so well in camp, at least according to reports, not having a chance to play until next year? Yeah, and it might be a good thing for him. I mean, just because we want to see young players, like we want to see Joe Burrow, we want to see Justin Herbert, like we wanted to see Kyler Murray last year. Sometimes waiting is not a bad thing. Yeah. Look at the Super Bowl MVP and last year's MVP in Patrick Mahomes. He had to sit. Now, it wasn't the same situation, but he sat, and I think it was valuable. I think if Tua sits behind a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick and is challenged by a guy like Josh Rosen, who's still trying to prove a lot, it might be good for him.
I'm not so sure I'm down with that. I want him to be the number 2 quarterback without any issue. Now, he's got to earn it, obviously. He's got to be proven healthy, but to me,
I just don't know how he's going to do it. That's my problem. Well, I just don't know how he's going to do it.
Yeah, no, you've got to earn it, but you start by dropping a 70. Did you actually see the video of the 70-yard bomb? It was a sweet throw. I mean, beautiful throw.
Look, we saw that all the time at Alabama.
We did.
His downfield accuracy, not quite what Joe Burrow's was last year, but it was pretty damn good.
It's always been good since he popped up on the public radar. But, if he's not going to be the starter this year, which I'm, in large part, I'm fine with, I need to know. I'm going to look at this from a Dolphins point of view. Like Josh Rosen, just based on what you spent to draft Tua, and also versus what you gave up to get Josh Rosen, which was nothing. Tua's going to be on the team more than Josh Rosen is.
Oh, yeah, it's not even a question.
No, I know you know that, but I can't waste a year where I have Tua behind Josh Rosen in the quarterback room or on the practice field not getting any meaningful reps. You want to start Ryan Fitzpatrick, that's cool. I would actually probably do that for the first month and reassess and see where we are, blah, blah, blah. I can't have Tua, watching Josh Rosen get some sniffs with the ones, and I just can't have it.
Yeah, no,
I can't have that. That's not good to me.
At the end of the day, Josh Rosen is like he's fighting for his NFL life
existence.
If he stinks this preseason and
There is no preseason.
Well, I mean, not games, but just like this if he stinks this training camp, and they're like, yeah, okay, Josh, I'm sorry. And he's just on the street, she'll get picked up, but nobody's going to take him seriously.
No, but don't you think? But the fact that he's number 2 reportedly on the depth chart tells you that he hasn't stunk.
No, I agree. That's what I'm saying, and it's probably because he realizes this, dude. It's like if I don't like pop in some way, I was probably not going to have any game tape to prove this, but if I don't pop in some way and create some buzz around me, my NFL career is forever a backup. You know what I mean? And that's just not what you expect from a 10th pick in the NFL draft from 3 years ago. No. Right? It's just, and again, every time we talk about this, you have to bring it. It's just unprecedented. Like it's not that he stinks. He just never got a chance. He never got a chance with any competence around him because in Arizona, that was a cluster out in Arizona that year he was there. And then they fired a coach after a year, and they bring in a guy who obviously loves the skill set of a Kyler Murray. And Josh Rosen just not Kyler Murray in any way. He doesn't run that style of offense. And then he gets jettisoned to Miami where he also really didn't have a chance to learn the offense and have any impact. So, I mean, I'm not surprised that Josh Rosen is ahead of him on the depth chart right now. We still got 2 weeks of training camp. I mean, I think Tua can pass him. I just don't know if Tua needs to for us to start saying what's wrong with Tua. There's nothing wrong with Tua. If he sits for a year, it is what it is.
Yeah, but I still think like if he's the 3rd guy going into week 1, it's going to look bad. Now that doesn't mean that you make a decision based on outer public sentiment. If that's what you believe is necessary at the moment, stick to your convictions and do what's best for your team. You can't cave to, did they draft the wrong guy? No, don't even listen to the radio stations down there and just forge forward with the plan that you planted last year, which obviously started to come to fruition the deeper the season got. But I would ask you, let's forget about what's in the building. Outwardly, a guy who played the game, you look at that. If he really is 3rd on the depth chart week 1, is that more about Tua or is that more about Josh Rosen?
I think it's more about Josh Rosen. I think it's more about, Brian Flores and that staff, Chan Gailey, saying if whatever happens with Ryan Fitzpatrick, this guy gives us a better chance to win right now. And that's just because he's been around for longer. And again, who knows how long that lasts? We see this all the time, but rarely we see it all the time at other positions. But rarely do we see it with quarterbacks who are drafted, 2 overall, or what was he 3, 2, whatever he was, top 5 quarterback draft. We rarely see him have to work his way past number 2 to be in competition with number 1. He's fighting for number 2 right now.
Yeah,
and I think that's probably smart. As well. Make him compete for 2, not 1 right now until he learns it and, more importantly, proves that he's healthy.
I think you also have to know the psychology of the player. Like, maybe this is unfair to Josh Rosen, but, I feel like if Josh Rosen comes in as a rookie and he's, battling for 3rd on the depth chart, maybe he disintegrates. I don't know. Maybe he doesn't. Maybe he processes. Not that he played well anyway, but maybe he mentally checks out. Maybe he processes it differently. The thing about Tua, and we know this from everything about his family. Not to say that Rosen's family structure is not good. His dad's a surgeon, obviously a very stable household, no doubt about it, all that good stuff. But if I can throw a dart at a board and say that, maybe Tua's a little more mentally resilient, maybe a little bit more prepared to deal with earning it, so to speak, or climbing a ladder. I don't know what I'm even basing that on tangibly.
Yeah, you just feel it.
I feel like Tua's a scrapper.
Yeah.
Maybe a little more than Josh Rosen.
And is not worried about the setback, right?
Yes.
Whatever you want to call this, if he ends up being 2nd or 3rd. He's not worried about it.
Correct.
1, because he was drafted so high, and 2, he's been elite. You know what I mean? He's been great every step of the way. From high school, obviously at college, where he won a national championship. And how can you not expect the same at Miami at some point, even if it's not this year?
Yeah, I'm sure that, maybe a young Baker would have had an issue similar to I'm trying to think of quarterbacks that, you just know the mentality. There's just certain guys who really care about what the public is saying, all right? And that's going to impact how they practice and what they project to the media.
Yeah.
And how they comport themselves around the building. I don't think that any of that outward noise is going to bother him at all, Tua, at
Agreed.
all. We'll see.
I agree.
I
agree.
He's got that vibe about him. All right. Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.